Chapter 26. Dreams, Creating the Future. Now that I have learnt more about Anastasia's feelings, about her desire to show, in spite of all her extraordinary traits, that she's still man, a normal, natural human being, I realized what mental anguish I had caused her that morning. Once again I apologized to her. Anastasia responded that she wasn't angry, but now, after what she had done, she was afraid for me. "What could you have possibly done that could be so frightful?" I asked, and once again I heard for the umpteenth time a story nobody should put forward seriously if they expect to be considered as normal as all the other people in our society. Nobody talks that way about themselves. When the ship left, Anastasia went on, and the young people headed back to the village, I stood for a while all by myself on the riverbank, and I felt good. Then I ran off to my forest. The day passed as usual, but in the evening, when the stars had already come out, I lay down on the grass and began dreaming, and then worked out this plan. What kind of plan? You see, the things that I know are partially known by various people in the world you live in. Collectively, they know practically everything, only they do not fully understand how it works. Then I went and fancied how you will go to a large city and tell many people about me and my explanations. You will do this using the same methods by which you usually spread any kind of information. You will write a book. A great many people will read it, and the truth will unfold to them. They will have fewer ailments. They will change their attitude toward children and work out a whole new way of educating them. People will become more loving, and the earth will begin to emit more radiant energy. Artists will paint my portrait, and each portrait will be their very best masterpiece. I shall try to inspire them. They will make what you call a movie, and it will be the grandest film ever made. You will look at all this and remember me. You will meet wise people, and you will understand and appreciate what I told you, and they will explain a lot of things to you. You will trust their word more than mine, and realize that I am not a witch, but actually man, a human being. It is just that I have more information inside me than other people. What you write will be of tremendous interest, and you will become rich. You will have money in the banks of 19 countries, and you will visit holy places and cleanse yourself of all the darkness that is in you. You will remember me and begin to love me. You will have the desire to see me again and to see your son. You will desire to become worthy of your son. My dream was so clear, but possibly a bit pleading too. That is probably why everything happened the way it did. They took it in as a plan of action and decided to carry through the dark forces window of time. That is permitted if the plan is formulated in detail on earth in the heart and mind of an individual man, an earth dweller. No doubt they took this as a grandiose plan. Perhaps they added something themselves, and this is why the forces of darkness have been hard at work of late. They have never been this active before. I realize this from the ringing cedar. Its rays has become a lot more powerful lately, and the ringing has got louder. The cedar is hurrying to give back its light and its energy. As I listened to Anastasia, I began thinking more and more that she was utterly crazy, that maybe she had long ago escaped from some asylum and was living here in the forest, and here I had gone and slept with her, and now she might have a child. What a tale indeed! Still, seeing how serious and concerned she was as she talked with me, I tried to calm her down. "Don't you worry, Anastasia. Your plan is obviously unrealizable, and so there's no need for the forces of darkness and light to fight each other. You don't have a detailed enough knowledge about our everyday life, its laws and conventions. The thing is that an awful lot of books are being published right now, but for some reason even the works of well-known authors aren't selling. I'm no writer, and so I don't have either the talent or ability or education to write anything." "That is correct. You did not have these things earlier, but now you do," she declared in response. "Okay," I kept trying to assuage her fears. "Even if I tried, nobody would print it, or believe in your existence. But I do exist. I exist for those for whom I exist. They will believe and help you just as I shall help them later. And together with those people I couldn't make sense of what she was saying right off, and once more I made an effort to calm her down. "I shan't even make an attempt to write anything. There's absolutely no sense in it. Don't you get it? Believe me, you shall. They have already created a whole network of circumstances that will make you do this." What am I, you think you? A puppet in somebody's hands? And so much depends on you, but the forces of darkness will try to stop you with all the tricks in their arsenal. They will even try to drive you to suicide by creating an illusion of hopelessness. Enough, Anastasia. That's it. I'm sick and tired of listening to your fantasies. You think they're just fantasies? Yeah, fantasies. And I stopped short. It began to dawn on me as I calculated the timing in my head, and I understood. Everything Anastasia told me about her dreams, about our son, she had thought up last year, long before I knew her as well as I do now, long before I slept with her. Now, a year later, it was coming to pass. So that means it's already coming to pass? I asked her. Of course. If it had not been for them, and for me too, a little, your second expedition would not have been possible. After all, you were scarcely able to make ends meet after the first one, and you did not even have any claim to the ship. You mean to say you influenced the shipping line and the firms that helped me? Yes. So you drove me to ruin and inflicted damage on them? What right have you to interfere like that? And here I've left the ship behind, and I'm sitting here with you. Maybe right now everything's going to pieces back there. You've probably got some kind of hypnotic ability. No, worse than that, you're a witch, and that's it. Or a crazy hermit. You don't have anything, not even a house, and here you go philosophizing in front of me, you sorcerer. I'm an entrepreneur. Do you have any idea what that means? I'm an entrepreneur. Even if I'm dying, my ships still ply the river. They bring goods to people. That's what I do. I bring things to people, and I can give you any items you need. But what can you give me? What can I give you? I can give you a drop of heavenly tenderness, and I can give you rest. You will be a genius of bright-eyed cleverness. As your image I am blessed. Image? Who needs your image? What sense can that express? It will help you write the book for people. Oh, please, there you go again, doing goodness knows what with that mysticism of yours. So you can't just live like a normal person. Are you sure? I have never done anything bad to anyone, and I never can. I am a human being. I am man. If you are so concerned about earthly goods and money, just wait a little. It will all come back to you. I do owe you an apology for dreaming like that, dreaming that you will have a time of troubles, but for some reason I could think of no alternative back then. You do not see the logic. You need to be compelled to see it through the help of your circumstances in your world. Excuse me? I couldn't hold out any longer. What's this about being compelled? You do something like that, and you still want to be treated as a normal human being? I am man, a human being, a woman. Anastasia's agitation was clearly noticeable in her voice. I only wanted, and I still only want the good. I want only the light. I want you to be purified. That's why I thought back then about your trip to holy places, about the book. They have accepted this, and the forces of darkness are always fighting with them. But never have the dark forces scored a major victory. And what about you? I countered. With all your intelligence, information, and energy, are you just going to stand and watch from the sidelines? In a confrontation on this scale between two great principles, my own efforts count for precious little. Help is going to be needed from many others in your world. I shall seek them out and find them. Just as I did that time when you were in the hospital. Only you need to develop a little more of that conscious awareness. You need to overcome the bad within yourself. I'd like to know just what's so bad within myself. What did I do wrong when I was in the hospital? And how could you have treated me when you weren't there beside me? Back then, you simply did not feel my presence, but I was right there with you. When you were on the ship, I brought you a little branch of the ringing cedar which Mama had broken off before she died. I left it in your cabin when you invited me in. You were ill even then. I could feel it. Do you remember the branch? Yes, I replied. In fact, that branch hung on the wall of my cabin for some time. Many of my crew noticed it, and I brought it back to Novosibirsk, but I didn't pay attention to it. You simply threw it out. But I had no idea. No, you had no idea. You threw it out, and Mama's branch did not succeed in overcoming your illness. Then you went into hospital. When you get back, take a closer look at the history of your illness. If you check the chart, you will see that in spite of taking the very best medicine available, there was no improvement. But then they gave you some cedar nut oil. Now, according to strict prescription regulations, the doctor was not supposed to do that, but she did it in spite of the fact that there was not a single mention of it in your medical prescription guide, and nothing of the sort had ever been done before. Do you remember? Yes. You were being treated by a woman who is a sector head in one of the best clinics in your city, but this sector had nothing to do with your particular illness. She left you there, even though just one floor up there was another sector specifically corresponding to your illness, right? Yes. She would prick you with needles and turn on some music in the half-darkened room. Anastasia's account was in complete accord with what had actually happened to me. Do you remember this woman? Yes, she was in charge of a sector in the former district council hospital. And then all at once Anastasia, her eyes fixed intently on me, spoke several disconnected phrases which immediately shocked me and caused a shiver up and down my spine. What kind of music do you like? Fine. Like that? Not too loud? And she spoke these phrases in exactly the voice and with the intonation used by the sector head who treated me. Anastasia! I exclaimed. She didn't let me finish. Keep listening. Do not be shocked, for God's sake. Do try. Try to make sense of everything I am telling you. Get your mind forces working, at least a little. It is all very easy, you see, for men. And she went on. This woman doctor, she is very good. She is a real doctor. I got along with her very well. She is kind and forthright. It was I who did not want you to be transferred to the other sector. That sector would have corresponded to your particular illness, but hers did not. She requested her supervisors to leave you with her, assuring them she would take care of you. She felt up to it. She knew your pains were simply the result of something else, and she tried to counteract that something else. She's a doctor. And how did you behave? You kept on smoking and drinking to your heart's content, eating salty and spicy foods, that in spite of your serious ulcer, you did not deny yourself anything in the way of pleasure. Somehow your subconscious got the message, even though you were not aware of it, that there was nothing terribly wrong with you, that nothing would happen to you. I did not accomplish anything good, rather the opposite. The darkness in your consciousness did not lessen, nor did your will or sense of awareness improve. When you regained your health, you sent one of your employees to thank the woman who saved your life. You yourself did not call her, not even once. She was waiting for you to call. She had such a feeling of love for you. She or you, Anastasia? We, if that is clearer to you. I got up and for some reason took a few steps away from Anastasia, who was sitting on a fallen tree. The mixed-up state of my feelings and thoughts caused even greater uncertainty as to how I should think about her. Now look, once again you are not understanding how I do things. You are becoming confused, but it is a simple thing to grasp. I do things with the help of my imagination and my ability to analyze possible situations. And now you have started thinking ill of me again. She fell silent, her head resting on her knees, and I stood there too, without saying a word, thinking, she keeps on talking and saying all sorts of incredible things. It's clear she has no idea that any normal person would not accept them, and so would not accept her as a normal person. Still, I went over to Anastasia and brushed her cascading braids of hair from her face. Tears were rolling down her cheeks from her large bluish-gray eyes. She smiled and said something quite uncharacteristic. She's just another one of those soppy females, eh? Right now you are overwhelmed by the very fact of my existence, and do not believe your eyes. You do not fully believe, and you cannot make sense of my sitting here talking to you. You find both my existence and my abilities amazing. You have completely ceased accepting me as a normal human being, as man, but believe me, I am a human being and not a witch. You consider my way of life amazing. But why does not a certain something else seem just as amazing, even paradoxical to you? Why do people admit the earth to be a celestial body, the greatest creation of the Supreme Mind, with each system component of his greatest achievement, and then go tear the system apart and devote so much effort to its destruction? You see a manufactured spaceship or airplane as something natural, in spite of the fact that all its components are made of broken or remelted parts of the original supreme system. Imagine a being who breaks off a piece of an airplane in flight and uses its parts to make himself a hammer or a scraper, and then praises himself for having succeeded in making a primitive tool. He does not understand that one cannot keep breaking pieces off a flying airplane indefinitely. How can you not grasp that our Earth must not be tortured like that? The computer is considered to be an achievement of the human mind, but few realize that the computer may simply be compared to a prosthesis of the brain. You can imagine what would happen to a person with normal, healthy legs if they walked on crutches all the time. Naturally, their leg muscles would atrophy. No machine will ever be superior to the human brain, provided the brain is kept in constant training. Anastasia wiped away a rolling tear down her cheek and stubbornly persisted in elucidating the incredible revelations stemming from her extraordinary logic. At the time, I had no idea how everything she said would arouse millions of people, set the minds of scholars astir, and even as mere hypotheses, prove to be without parallel anywhere in the world. According to Anastasia, the sun is something like a mirror. It reflects emanations from the earth which are invisible to the eye. These emanations come from people in a state of love, joy, or some other radiant feeling. Reflecting off the sun, they return to the earth in the form of sunlight and give life to everything on the planet. She brought up a whole array of supporting arguments which were not that simple to grasp. If the earth and other planets were simply consumers of the sun's grace of light, she said, it would be extinguished or burn unevenly, and its glow would be off-kilter. In the universe there is and can be no lopsided process. Everything is interrelated. She cited, too, the words of the Bible, "And the life was the light of men." Anastasia also stated that one man's feelings can be transmitted to another by reflecting off the celestial bodies, and she demonstrated this by the following example. Nobody on earth can deny that what you feel when somebody loves you, that you can feel when somebody loves you. This feeling is especially noticeable when you are with the person who loves you. You call it intuition. In fact, invisible lightning waves emanate from the one who loves. But the love can be felt, if it is strong enough, even when the individual is absent. By drawing upon this feeling and understanding its nature, one can do wonders. This is what you call miracles, mysticism, or incredible abilities. Tell me, Vladimir, do you not feel a bit better with me now? Somehow lighter, warmer, more fulfilled? Yes, I replied. For some reason, I have started to feel warmer. Now watch what happens when I concentrate on you even more strongly. Anastasia lowered her eyelids ever so slightly, slowly stepped back a few paces and stopped. A pleasant feeling of warmth started running through my body. It gradually intensified, but didn't burst into flames and didn't make me hot. Anastasia turned and began to slowly walk away, hiding behind the thick trunk of a tall tree. The sensation of pleasant warmth did not lessen, and to it was added another, as though something were helping my heart pump blood through my veins, and with every heartbeat came the impression that blood streams were instantly reaching every little vein in my body. The soles of my feet broke out into a heavy sweat and became very moist. You see, now it is all clear to you, Anastasia said as she triumphantly reappeared from behind the tree, confident that she had proved something to me. You see, you felt all that when I was behind the tree trunk, and your sensations even increased when you could not see me. Tell me about them. I told her, and then asked her in turn, what does the tree trunk show? What do you think? The waves of information and light went directly from me to you. When I hid myself, the tree trunk was supposed to significantly distort them, since it has its own information and its own glow, but this did not happen. The waves of feelings began falling directly upon you, reflecting off the celestial bodies, and even intensified. Then I caused what you call a miracle. Your feet began to perspire. You failed to mention that fact. I didn't think it was important. How do my feet perspiring constitute a miracle? I chased all sorts of disease out of your body through your feet. You should feel a lot better now. It is even noticeable on the outside. You are not slouching as much. Indeed, I was feeling better physically. So, when you concentrate like that, you dream up something, and whatever you want comes to pass? That describes it, more or less. And does what you dream about always come to pass, even when you're asking for something besides bodily healing? Always, as long as it is not an abstract dream, as long as it is detailed down to the minutest aspects and does not contradict the laws of spiritual being. I do not always manage, however, to come up with a dream like that. Thought has to proceed extremely quickly, and there must be a corresponding vibration of feelings, and then it will definitely come true. It is a very natural process. It happens in the lives of many people. Ask around among your acquaintances. Perhaps you will find some among them who have dreamt this way, and their dream has come true, either fully or partially. Detailed, thinking, proceeding extremely quickly. Tell me, when you were dreaming about the poets and artists and the book, was that all in detail too? Did your thought proceed quickly then? Extraordinarily quickly. And everything was so specific, down to the finest detail. So now, you think, it's going to come true? Yes, it will. There wasn't anything else you dreamt about at the time? You've told me everything about your dreams? Not everything. Then tell me everything. Do you? Do you really want to hear it, Vladimir? Really? Yes. Anastasia's face brightened, as though illuminated by a flash of light. It was with inspiration and excitement that she continued her incredible monologue.